That's why I'm saying that I feel like early labor has started. Even though they're insanely sugary. I mean, they're like all sugar, but love those. Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing my 38-week update. I am 38 weeks. Oh my goodness, I keep doing that. I'm 39 weeks one day pregnant, and I am glad to be getting this uploaded because I should be going into labor pretty soon. I hope so. I think that I'm in early labor, and so I'm hoping that I really am. If you haven't seen my hospital bag video, go check that out. And hopefully the next video is either a baby names video or the baby's birth. If not, then I'll try to do a 39-week update and and we'll see how things go. But it is possible that the next video could be the baby's birth. Okay, so for my 38-week update, let's see. I actually wrote a lot of things for 38 weeks. So my weeks fall on Sundays, and so like when my next week starts falls on Sundays. So I wrote that I was really hot in church and I couldn't really sit through it. I sat through the first meeting, which is called sacrament meeting, and then in Sunday school, or it was like a fifth Sunday thing, it was like combined with with all the adults and youth. But I was just like, I gotta get up and walk around. I don't know if it was like anxiety or just feeling like I needed to be doing something, but I felt like I couldn't sit through it. So even me and Ren went to the car like between 10 minutes before it ended, 5 to 10 minutes before it ended, because I was just so kind of like antsy. I wrote that I was motivated, really motivated, but not nearly as physically capable as before, and I found that like that is continuing. Obviously, I'm getting more and more close to giving birth, and so that makes sense, but with all this motivation that I have, it's kind of it's weird not being able to physically do what I typically could have done before, even being pregnant. I questioned if the baby had dropped. I was peeing so much, is what I said. At one night I had peed like, I felt like it was like every 30 minutes or, 30 minutes to an hour. So I was like, maybe the baby has dropped. Just a few times it was like that. And so I don't know, the baby, I don't think that that's the case, but then I was thinking possibly. I was having period-like cramps. That has kind of continued. That is a good sign, I think, that labor is on its way. My anxiety kind of got pretty bad in the 38th week. My breathing was harder. It was harder to breathe, which has been kind of a sign of my anxiety being bad in the past year or so. Like before I started taking Zoloft, and so that was a bummer. I feel like I've been really kind of OCD this pregnancy about cleaning and about keeping things neat and tidy, especially these last few months of pregnancy, and so that has continued. I also felt one day that it was like almost first trimester like morning sickness if I hadn't eaten, and so that was kind of weird, having that somewhat like kind of nausea. I wrote that I still wasn't really interested in food. It's been a few weeks that I've been, or maybe even like a month, that it's just I've really liked sweets, and I still eat food, but I'm just not really interested. It doesn't like oh, let's go out and get this food. It's not, sometimes it is, but for the most part I'm just like yeah, I'll eat that because that's what we're having, but it's not like I'm like, oh, please go get me this food. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's kind of funny. I wrote about that I have a long to-do list before the baby, and I think that has a lot to do with nesting. I've really felt this nesting urge especially in my 38th week, just really, really strong urge to nest. And if you haven't been pregnant before, if this is your first time, it is totally a symptom of pregnancy, especially like I've just noticed it really this time, that I feel like it's totally nesting and not just like, oh, I'm gonna clean my house. It's like really nesting. If you can see the specifics on on my list of stuff to do, it's probably kind of funny. I'll probably look back and be like, oh man. So another thing in the 38th week that was kind of weird was that my Braxton and Hicks contractions were picking up a ton. I felt like I was having them, what did I write? Like the Braxton Hicks on 30 minutes and feeling them next day during I don't know what I was saying. I think that I was feeling them pretty often, like every 30 minutes or so. And then I was feeling them the next morning, which usually I have them at night. That's pretty typical for me to have them more at night, but I felt them the next morning, and for a couple of days. That was on, I think that I felt them on Thursday during the day, and then on Friday I went to my doctor's appointment and I had been feeling them during the day that day also, which is different for me. That's why I'm saying that I feel like early labor has started, because before like with other pregnancies, it hasn't been as constant. So I was having them anyways. So I went to my doctor's appointment. He doesn't check you until later in pregnancy, like pretty late into pregnancy. So I was 38 weeks, 5 days. Yeah, 38 weeks, 5 days, and he checked me, and it was painful, but I was at 2 centimeters and 50% effaced, which I was really, really, really happy about. I mean, obviously being more progressed, like more effaced would have been nice, but also I didn't want to be too progressed because I want my mom to be here in time for the birth, and so, and to watch the girls while I'm in the hospital. And so 2 centimeters and 50% effaced felt accomplished. Like I felt accomplished with that because I was like, okay, my body's doing something and it's actually like dilating and actually effacing. So that was really exciting. We also still talked about the 13th possibly being the induction date, kind of keeping that in pencil. So we'll see if I don't go into labor before then. I'm really, really hoping this is the time that I go into labor on my own. I'm also at my doctor's appointment. So my blood pressure was 120/40, and I think that I had gained about 3 pounds in a week again. So these last couple weeks I've been gaining more of that weight, which is fine. So yeah, that is the update about the doctor's appointment. I have another one on this coming Thursday, the day after my mom gets here, and I'm thinking of asking for him to do a membrane sweep. We'll see if I last till then. I think that I will, and I think that's what's really gonna get me going into a more active labor. But we'll see. Another thing that I've been wanting for a while are those lollies, like the Smarties, like lollipops. I haven't had them, but I found Smarties at the dollar store and I got them, and they gave me pretty bad heartburn, but I love like the texture of them, even though they're insanely sugary. I mean, they're like all sugar, but I love those. We got the girls' presents. Greta's I had to order on Amazon, but yeah, the other 2 girls' presents, May is right here. So anyways, I wrote, like I was saying, so many Braxton Hicks Friday night and day and Saturday night and day, about 14 to 40 minutes apart. They were really sporadic, and as I've been watching a ton of like labor and delivery, well, like vlogs too, but also like how to prepare for labor and different signs of it and everything. And these are, I mean, since they're jumping so far apart, different like times apart, and then also different like, you know, that they're not don't have as much of a pattern. I'm obviously not in like active labor, but I'm glad that it's doing something, and I'd like it to continue doing this for the next couple days until my mom gets here. Yesterday, which I was 39 weeks yesterday, they simmered down a lot, and today they're not really very strong. So I mean, I think that's kind of a part of just your body figuring out what to do. But on Friday and Saturday, they were pretty intense, and they were somewhat painful too. I mean, I was able to get through them just fine, but I also, on Saturday, we went and did a few things. We went out, and coming home, I wrote that I felt a lot of period cramps going on Saturday night. I just wanted to have a heating pad on me, so I did. I sat on my ball a lot this past week, which is really great. If you don't have a birthing ball, then I totally recommend one. It's so much more comfortable, and it also helps to get the baby down, to get engaged and everything. But I just wanted to have the heating pad on me, so I sat on the ball, and then I came and laid in bed with the heating pad on me. Brett got the girls to sleep, and that was good. It was interesting to feel this early labor starting at home, because with May I was induced and I was only at 1 centimeter, I think, or like 1.5 centimeters or something. I think it was only 1 though. And with Ren, I went into the hospital and was induced. I was at a 3, but I was also 2 days past my due date. So I'm hoping, and with Greta, I think that I was at a 2 going in, but I cannot fully remember. I need to look back on that. But with this baby, I'm hoping that I'm at like a 4 when I go into the hospital, or more obviously, but we'll see. I'll get checked on Thursday, and he'll hopefully do the membrane sweep, and we'll see what happens. And the last thing that I wrote, that I had intense nesting desires, but I don't want to push it because I don't want to go into labor and I'm sore, which I kind of already touched on. But anyways, that is my 38-week update. I am getting there. We're so close. If you're also 38 weeks, share with me in the comments your symptoms that you're having, if they're similar to mine or if they're different. I'd love to chat with you in the comment section, so make sure to do that. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye. Oh, and really quick, let me show you guys my this is 39 weeks 1 day bump. It's pretty ready to have this baby, I feel like. I don't think that, I mean, maybe she's dropped a little bit. Occasionally I'm like, oh, my belly looks like it's a little bit lower, but who knows.